Hello and welcome to this session on types of cash flows. This is the third session in the series of sessions on time value of money. Before we apply the concept of time value of money, it is important for us to understand the type of cash flows which are being compounded or discounted. Based on the nature and timing of occurrence, cash flows can be classified as single cash flow, annuity, also known as deferred annuity, annuity due, which is known as immediate annuity, perpetuity, or a series of uneven cash flows. Let us see what is the meaning of each of these types of cash flows now. Single cash flow doesn't mean only one cash flow. Actually, it is a set of two cash flows, one at the beginning of the time period and the other at the end of the time period with no intermittent cash flows. For example, when you invest in a cumulative fixed deposit scheme, you are investing some amount today, and at the end of the investment period, the maturity value is given back to you. So if you take an example of a 5-year cumulative deposit scheme, if you are investing 1000 today, that is why the time is shown as 0. 0 means today. At the end of 5 years, you are receiving 1500 rupees with no cash inflows in between. So these kind of cash flows are known as single cash flows. These cash flows are important, and in the previous session we have understood how to compute the future value and present value of these types of single cash flows. Let us now look at what is an annuity. Annuity is a series of cash flows with the following features. The cash flows are uniform, that means the size of the cash flow is same. First uniform cash flow occurs 1 year from now, and uniform cash flows occur every year for a specific number of years, which means uniform cash flows starting 1 year from now occur every year for a specific number of years. This series of cash flows is known as annuity. An example for this is loan repayment through equal annual installments. Let us look at an example. Let us take an example of a 4-year loan where you are taking 50,000 rupees as loan. Therefore, today you get 50,000 rupees. This loan is repaid through equal annual installments of 15,774. Therefore, at the end of 1 year, you pay 15,774. At the end of second year, again a payment of 15,774 is made. Similarly, at the end of third and fourth year, 15,774 is paid. With this, the loan is completely closed. Now, this series of cash flows starting from 1 year from now of a size of 15,774 occurring every year for a specific number of years is called annuity. So here annuity is the series of 15,774. This is uniform in nature. Cash flows are occurring every year. Cash flows are occurring for a specific number of years, and the first uniform cash flow, that is first payment of 15,774, happens 1 year from now. If we look at annuity due, this is also a series of cash flows where the cash flows are uniform. The first uniform cash flow occurs today, and uniform cash flows occur every year for a specific number of years. So you can see from this, the only difference between annuity and annuity due is the first uniform cash flow occurs 1 year from now in case of annuity, whereas in annuity due, the first uniform cash flow occurs today. That is why annuity due is also known as immediate annuity. Annuity starts immediately. What is an example for this? An example for this is investment in recurring deposit scheme for a specific number of years. Let us look at that example. Let us take a 4-year recurring deposit scheme where you are investing 10,000 rupees every year. So the first installment of 10,000 rupees will be paid today. Similarly, you pay 10,000 4 times. At the end of fourth year, you receive the maturity value of 46,400. Here, the series of 10,000 rupees is called an annuity. Here the annuity due, sorry. Here the cash flows are uniform. They are happening every year. They are occurring for a specific number of years. And the first cash flow happens today. Therefore, this is an example of annuity due or immediate annuity. Now let us see what is a perpetuity. A perpetuity is an annuity that continues forever, or as the name suggests, it is a series of perpetual cash flows. In other words, an annuity for infinite number of years is called a perpetuity. In our real life, the application of perpetuity is not very common. Since a perpetuity never ends, that means the cash flows never end, it happens forever. There is no question of future value of a perpetuity. But present value of a perpetuity can be calculated and it is defined as PV is equal to A divided by R, where A represents the uniform annual cash flows and R represents the required rate of return. The last type of cash flow is a series of uneven cash flows. Here it is a series which occurs at regular intervals for a specific number of years where the cash flows are not uniform. That means every year cash flows are there, but these cash flows are not same in size. And that kind of a series is known as an uneven cash flow series. Compounding and discounting of an uneven series is done by considering each cash flow individually. So we take each cash flow, calculate its present value or future value, and the present value or future value of each individual cash flows are added together to arrive at the future value or present value of the series. Whereas in case of annuity, there are short techniques to calculate future value and present value. But before we understand the computation of future value and present value of annuity, it is important to know when to apply these concepts. I have seen some people getting confused without knowing when to use the future value concept of annuity and when to use the present value concept of annuity. There is a very simple technique to understand this. All series of cash flows have a bulk cash flow, which will be inflow or outflow, either at the beginning or at the end. Therefore, if the bulk cash flow occurs at the beginning, before the annuity starts, present value concept of annuity has to be applied. For example, availing loan. What happens in a loan? A major cash flow comes today, which is followed by a series of uniform cash flows. I take 5 lakh rupees loan today, so bulk 5 lakh comes to me today. From 1 year from now, every year I will be paying equal installments to repay this loan. So bulk cash flow is today. Therefore, any concept relating to this series should be approached using present value of annuity. If the bulk cash flow occurs at the end, after the annuity is over, future value concept of annuity has to be applied. For example, investment in recurring deposit schemes. Here what happens is, I keep paying same amount every year for a specific number of years, at the end of which the cumulated amount as a bulk cash flow comes to me. Here, the annuity is first and bulk cash flow is later. In such cases, future value concept of annuity has to be applied. So, in simple terms, if there is a bulk cash flow followed by annuity, we use present value of annuity concept. And if there is an annuity which is followed by a bulk cash flow in future, we use future value concept of annuity. That brings us to the end of this session. We will learn the techniques of calculation of future value and present value of annuity and its real life applications in the following sessions. Thank you.